Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The National Broadcasting Company bids you a hearty welcome. Today, NBC has moved its microphones into the heart of the Midwest, where this afternoon the football fans of this nation are turning their eyes towards the campus of the University of Michigan. For in Ann Arbor this afternoon, the nation's #1 football game will take place, pitting together the unbeaten teams of Army and Michigan. This is Bill Stern speaking from Ann Arbor, Michigan, from the huge Michigan Stadium, which today will be bulging at the seams as it holds 60 or 86,000 people, one of the largest crowds to ever see a football game so far this year. The Michigan band is just marching on the field at the moment, and as soon as they strike up, we'll quiet down so you can hear them. Very little needs to be said about these two teams. Anybody who knows anything at all about football knows the splendid record of both. Army comes into this game with victories over Villanova, Oklahoma, and Cornell. Michigan has already defeated Indiana and Iowa. After today, Michigan goes on to play Northwestern, Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State. 86,000 people sitting in the sunlight out at Ann Arbor. It's a brilliant day for a football game. The stadium is literally jam-packed, and again, let's listen to this band. The band drawn up at attention, facing the Michigan Rooters. Michigan band has just marched in, dressed in the traditional maize and blue of Michigan. Now they're facing them towards the flagpole. In a moment, I imagine we'll have the national anthem, and again, we'll quiet down and listen. It'll probably be the Raising of the Stars and Stripes. Here it is. The captains are meeting in the center of the field. Art Renner, right end for Michigan. Doc Blanchard, co-captain for Army. Army will kick off. Michigan will receive. And Army has the wind in front of them. Michigan has it at their back. He says, "Are you ready?" Renner says he's ready. Blanchard says he's ready. Davis says he's ready. And here comes the boot. Jack Ray boots it. It's up in the air. The game's on. It's going back to the Michigan goal line. It's taken on the goal line by Bob Chappius. Chappius is up to the 5, the 10, the 15. Gets away from one man. Comes to the 20. And is knocked down on the 22-yard line. Bob Chappius is hit down by Sheldon Biles and Joe Steffi. Here comes the first running play of the afternoon. Bob Weiss in the tailback this time. T formation, single wing over to the left. Bob Chappius is the tailback now. Ball goes back to Chappius on a fake. He spins his way into the line, moves from the 22 up to the 24. A gain of 2 yards before he's hit down by Sheldon Biles and Joe Steffi. Both of the men who made the tackles. Take out Jack Ray, who kicked off for Army, and put Fusen back in the ball game. We said he was going to start. He was out only for the kick, and now he's gone back in. Less than a minute of playing time have gone by in Ann Arbor. It's 0-0. Michigan has the ball. Second down now, 8 yards to go. T formation, single wing over to the right. Chappius is in the tailback. Ball goes back to Bob Weesey. Weesey on a complete spinner, gives it to White. White tries to dive off his own right tackle. He plunged forward to approximately the 25-yard line, picked up 1 yard on that play. The Army line came in to smother him. Goebel Bryant, the right tackle, is the man who made that tackle. Gain of 1 yard. It'll be third down, coming up 7 yards to go, and the maize and blue has yet to show a sustained effort. Unbalanced line, strong side to the right. They shift quickly to the right. It's a line plunge with Bob Chappius going from the 25 to the 28 and then being beat all the way back to the 26. Sheldon Biles, Steffi, Goebel Bryant, and Herschel Fusen all come in to make that tackle for Army, which means Michigan's got a kick. Tucker and Davis go back in safety position for Army. Michigan hasn't gone into a punt formation with a 4th and 4. They probably will, though. It'll probably be Bob Weesey. It is. Weesey standing back on his own, let's call it the 16. He's going to boot from the 20. He does. It's up in the air. It's a nice one. Waiting to take it is Arnold Tucker. Tucker takes it on the 25. He's back to the Army 30, up to the 35, and he's hit down on the 36, and he fumbles the ball as he's hit down. Falls forward on his own fumble, and it's Army's ball. Arnold Tucker, quarterback of Army, runs it to the Army 36. Army's ball, 1st and 10. Krager, Georgie Krager, J.T. White, and Bill Petula. J.T. has no, incidentally, J.T. White has no first name, just J.T. Asked him what his first name was, and he says just J.T. White. Two brothers in the game, Paul White and J.T. White for Michigan. One at center, one at right halfback. Incidentally, that's the first time Michigan has won the toss and elected to kick off this year. Here we go. Army's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 36. Ends deployed out wide, T formation. Arnold Tucker calling these signals. Fusen's in the middle of that T formation now. Blanchard on one side, Davis on the other. Ball is flipped out to Glenn Davis. He's coming around the left side of his line. He gains nothing. He's hit down on the 35-yard line. Howard Jurgens hits him down hard. Glenn Davis, the sprint star of the Academy team, is whipped down to the ground, losing a yard on that play by Howie Jurgens, quarterback of Michigan. And listen to this Michigan crowd yell about that. That's the man they've been told to fear. Davis, listen to the roar. Glenn Davis tries to go around Army's right end, and he's dropped for a yard loss by Howie Jurgens. Backs up the Michigan line. T formation. Arnold Tucker calling these. Balance line for Army. In motion is Glenn Davis going out to the right. The ball is given to Fusen. Fusen into the center of the line, and he gains 3 yards. Tomasi, left guard of Michigan, is the man who stopped him. Gain of 3 yards on that play. It'll be third down coming up now. 7 yards to go. Army's ball on their own. Let's call it 38-yard line, 15 yards in from the western side of the playing field. There are 10 minutes and 50 seconds remaining to be played in the first period. The score is Army nothing, Michigan nothing. They bring a man up into the line and make it a 6-man line with 3 men backing it up. In motion, Glenn Davis going out to the right this time. It's Tucker back for the pass for Army. There goes a long Army pass, and it's good. It's good. It's caught by Goldberg on the 20. He's down to the 10, down to the 5, and he fumbles on the 5. He fumbles on the 5, and it's ruled an incomplete forward pass. He takes it on the 20, goes all the way sailing down to the 5-yard line. It's knocked out of his hands by Bob Weesey. He ran 15 yards without that ball being in his arms, and it's rolled an incomplete forward pass. Listen to this crowd. A long forward pass thrown by Arnold Tucker is momentarily received by Army on the 20. The ball carrier, thinking he's got it, goes all the way for an additional 10 yards before he finds he hasn't got it. Weesey knocked it out of his hands. Incomplete. It will now be fourth down coming up. 9 yards to go. Army's ball. Irons is in at left end for Army, and he'll do the kicking. He just came in. He's going to boot. He does. It's not a very good kick. It's going out of bounds in the neighborhood of the 50-yard line, and Michigan will take over in the midfield stripe. Elmer Madar, right end of Michigan, is the man who got in there. Just picked that ball enough to deflect it, forced it out of bounds. And it is Michigan's ball, first and 10 on the Army 41-yard line. Boy, this game has really changed hands quickly. Army throwing a long pass, has it almost completed down to the 20. Davis taking it for a moment on the 20, thinks he's got it, goes for another 10 yards, trying to hold onto the ball, but it finally goes through his arm for an incomplete forward pass. Bob Chappius in the tailback this time. Man in motion is Paul White. It is Bob Chappius back for a long Michigan pass. There goes a long pass. White is down under. He drops it. He drops it. Chappius, left halfback of Michigan, tossed a beauty all the way down to the Army 5-yard line, and Paul White had it in the clear if he could have held on to it. He had it and he dropped it. Well, that makes it even for both of them. Army had a short touchdown a moment ago when they threw to Glenn Davis, and Davis did a juggling act worthy of Houdini as he ran 10 yards trying to hang on to that ball, juggling it at the same time, only to finally have it go down to the ground. Just a moment ago, Chappius threw a long one to Paul White. White had it down on the Army 5 and dropped it. It is second and 10 now. Michigan's ball on the Army 41-yard line. Chappius in the tailback, waiting for the pass from center. It's a reverse to Paul White. White coming around the short side of his line, gets down to the 36, stays on his feet, keeps going, gets to the 33. Gets down to the 33-yard line. Right halfback of Michigan, Paul White. 32-yard line, Bob Chappius in the tailback this time. The ball goes back to Bob. He's following his interference. He goes around the left side of his line. He's down to the 30, down to the 29, and he's got a first down for Michigan. First down for Michigan. Single wing over to the right. Bob Chappius just reeled up that first down. It's a spinner with Weesey into the center of the line. He goes to the Army 25-yard line. He's knocked down by Jimmy Enos. Center of Army. Bob Weesey, fullback of Michigan, drives forward to the Army 25. And Army is changing its defense. Red Blake has pulled a 6-man up into the line. Center of Michigan over that ball. It is second down, 7 yards to go. And the gold maize and blue is getting ready. Singling over the right this time. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back to Weesey. Weesey to Chappius. There goes the forward pass. It's completed down to the 17-yard line. Elmer Madar takes on the Army 17. He's hit immediately as he does. But that is almost another first down for Michigan. The maize and blue pitches one with Chappius throwing, Madar catching. And it's all the way down to the Army, let's call it the 18-yard line. That's almost a first down. It'll be third down coming up for Michigan and a foot to go for the first down. And we have 7 minutes and 55 seconds of playing time remaining in the first period of the Army-Michigan game from Ann Arbor, and the score is 0-0. Weesey on the line punch. He goes into the center of the line, and I don't think he gained an inch. He may have just about made that first down. He needed 1 foot. And he might have made those 12 inches. It looked for a moment as though he was stopped. He does. He makes the first down for Michigan. Michigan wing. They come out of this one into a T. It's a fake quarterback sneak with Chappius into the center of the line and no gain. It'll be second and 9.5, and the Army Rooters are yelling, hold that line. Michigan wants a touchdown. T formation for Michigan. Single wing over to the right this time. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back to Weesey. Weesey to White. White on a spinner. White coming around the left side of his line. He's back to the 15, down to the 10, and he's run out of bounds on the 7-yard line. Paul White, right halfback of Michigan, goes all the way to the Army 7-yard line. Referee says he was forced out of bounds on the 8-yard line. Glenn Davis and Doc Blanchard, the touchdown twins, finally belted him out of bounds, and brother, they hit him. They jarred his teeth. An unbalanced line with a strength over to the right. Single wing to the right now. Chappius in the tailback. Weesey in the plunging back. Ball goes to Bob Chappius. He's being stopped as he hits the line of scrimmage. He gained nothing. Came back to the line of scrimmage, but he did move the ball from 15 yards out of the sideline right into the center of the playing field, which means that should Michigan be thwarted, they're in perfect position for an attempted field goal. Michigan out of the huddle, single wing over to the right. Bob Chappius in the tailback now. Uh-oh. Referee gets in, blows his whistle. Blows his whistle. Looks like a penalty on Michigan. Looks like a penalty on Michigan. Can be. It is now, instead of 4th and 1, it is 4th and 6. Single wing over to the right this time. Chappius is on the tailback. Bob's fading back to throw a forward pass for Michigan. There it goes. It's thrown out to the right. It's caught down on the 10-yard line by Howard Yerges. Yerges is down to the 5-yard line. He's down to the 3-yard line, the 2. The referee throws his arms up into the air, and Michigan has scored. Has absolutely gone stark raving mad. The underdog Michigan team is out in front 6-0. Bob Chappius just faded back, tossed a pass to Howard Yerges, who took it on the 10. He dove away from Glenn Davis. He was hit momentarily on the 3. He fell into the end zone, and it's good. At 6 in a row for Brisky. 3 against Indiana, 2 against Iowa, now 1 against Army. Michigan's out in front 7-0. And listen to this Michigan band. Holding the ball will be Derricati, who has come in replacing Chappius, who just come out. Here comes the kick. It's a nice one. End over end. It is going back to the Army 10-yard line. It is taken by Glenn Davis on the 10. He's up to the 15, the 20, the 25, and he's hit down on the 29-yard line. Glenn Davis hit down on the 29. Bob Weesey makes the tackle. Comes Army out of the huddle very quickly now. The cadets run back to the line of scrimmage. They're wearing white jerseys. It's 7-0 in favor of Michigan. T formation. Barney Poole, left end, deployed way out wide. Rip Rowan in motion. The ball is given to Glenn Davis. Davis coming around the left side of his line, and he gains nothing. He loses. Glenn Davis is hit all the way back to the 26-yard line by Elmer Mader, the right end of Michigan, who stops him and stops him hard. Barney Poole is deployed way out to the right this time. He is out some 15 yards. A quick toss. Davis out to Poole. Poole takes the ball, gets across the 30, gets to the 33, and he's knocked down by Bob Weesey. The score is 7-0 in favor of Michigan. Here comes Army out of the huddle very quickly, wearing white jerseys, and they're clean at the moment. In motion, Glenn Davis coming parallel to the line of scrimmage. The ball is given this time to Rip Rowan. Rowan gains nothing, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and he's stopped. Bob Weesey, fullback of Michigan, stops him. Oh, this Michigan team is really playing surprisingly well. It is 4th down, 6 yards to go, and Mr. Billy West will have to kick from the Army 25. He boots it. It's up in the air. It's a very nice one. Waiting to take it is Paul White. White takes it, fakes to give it to Chappius, keeps it himself. He's back to the Michigan 30, up to the 35, and he's knocked out of bounds on the 39-yard line. Paul White, right halfback, the University of Michigan, takes the ball on the 30 and comes up to the 39. Gove O'Brien, right tackle of Army, is the man who hits him out. Knocks him out of bounds. Blanchard comes back into the ball game. Comes back momentarily, and Billy West goes out. Paul White deployed out wide. Bob Weesey in the tailback. Now it's Bob Chappius all the way back. Weesey on a complete spinner into the center of the line, and he gains nothing. A spinner which found him faking to give it to Bob Chappius, but he did not. From Ann Arbor in the first period, score is 7-0. Michigan leads Army. Bob Chappius in the tailback this time. Single wing over to the right, unbalanced line. Ball goes back to Weesey. Weesey to Yerges. Yerges flipped back to Chappius, and Chappius gets up to the 39-yard line. A gain of 1 yard. Any signal yet? There was a gain of 1 yard on that play, and the ball is being put down 1 yard forward, which means that 1 yard is going to be allowed. Whatever the penalty was, or the infraction of the rules, it was nullified because the referee did not face off any penalty. Both captains came in and talked to him, so there was no penalty on that play. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle very quickly this time. Chappius and Weesey in the tailback spot. It's Bob the deepest. Bob Weesey. Now in motion is Hank Fondy coming around. A quick kick by Chappius. Catches Army flat-footed. There goes the ball. It's racing back to the Army 20-yard line. Glenn Davis takes it over his shoulder back on his own 15. He gets away from one man, but he can't get away from another. And he's finally hit down on the Army 17-yard line. Elmer Mader, Bill Petula, George Krager, and J.T. White all hit him down. He ran into a whole phalanx, and he was hit down but hard. Referee moves the ball up to the 19-yard line. Army's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 19. Quick kick by Michigan. Catches Army flat-footed, and Glenn Davis, showing that he is a great football player, catches that one right over his shoulder. Had the sun in his eyes. He was racing back, and he took it over his shoulder, and that's a hard way to catch him. 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the first period, and the Maize and Blue is out in front of the Cadets 7-0. A flip pass this time. Arnold Tucker to Blanchard. Blanchard into the center of the line. He drives from the 19 up to the 25, and he's hit down on the 25 by Fondy and Yergis, who both bring him down. Howie Yergis and Hank Fondy, and there's a gain of 6 yards on that play. Referee moves the ball back to the 24, so it's a gain of 5 yards on the play. 86,000 people jam-packed into the stadium at Ann Arbor, Michigan, as Army fights Michigan, and the Maize and Blue of Michigan is out in front 7-0. In motion, Glenn Davis running parallel to the line of scrimmage. Ball is given to Arnold Tucker. Tucker's trying to run around the left side of his line. He's up to the 25, up to the 30, up to the 35, stays on his feet, keeps going up to the 40, and he's finally hit down on the Army 42-yard line. Arnold Tucker, a great quarterback, faking to give the ball to Glenn Davis, kept it himself, and thanks to a beautiful block thrown by Barney Poole, runs it all the way up to the Army 42 for the first down for the Cadets. Arnold Tucker calling these plays, and Tucker just reeled off Army's long game. Tucker takes the ball this time, gives it a rip Rowan. Rowan goes through the center of the line. He goes to the 48, stays on his feet, crosses the midfield stripe. He is down to the 45, down to the 40, down to the 35, down to the 30, down to the 25, down to the 20, down to the 15, the 10, the 5, and he's all the way into the goal line. It is Glenn Davis, left halfback of Army, who takes the lateral and runs for an Army touchdown. Glenn Davis proving why he is an All-American on anybody's team, taking a quick lateral from Rip Rowan, who went into the center of that line, could gain nothing. Davis broke into the clear at the 50, and then sidestepped Derek Cott, the safety man for Michigan, and Paul White, who come back to make the tackle, raced some 52 yards for the tying score, at least to make it 7-6. And now Army has come back into the ball game, and it is Army 6, Michigan 7, and Army will try to convert for that extra point. Weisenberger goes in at quarterback and is coming out now, and Pete Elliott replaces him for Michigan. Weisenberger went in a moment ago replacing Yergis. A brilliant run by Glenn Davis. And try and boot it over if he can for Army and tie the ball game up if he can do it. There's the pass from center. The kick is up in the air. It is good. Score is 7-7. Michigan 7, Army 7. Army and Michigan back on even terms. And there are 50 seconds of playing time remaining in the first period, and Glenn Davis has just sped 52 yards to put the Cadets really into the ball game. Herschel Fusen has come in at fullback. Rip Rowan has gone out, and Fusen will boot off for Army as we start the ball game all over again. It's an even-Steven game once again. Waiting to take it from Michigan is Bob Chappius. He takes it back on the 5. He's up to the 10, the 15, the 20, stays on his feet up to the 25, hangs onto it, and he's knocked down on the 30. Bob Chappius, left halfback of Michigan, runs it up to the Michigan 30-yard line, and the score is Michigan 7, Army 7. Michigan's ball, Michigan's backfield now. Quarterback Howard Yergis, fullback Dan Dworsky, right half Hank Fondy, and left halfback Bob Chappius. It was a beautiful run of Glenn Davis's. He didn't start with the ball, but he really finished with it. Unbalanced line for Michigan, strength on the right side. A swing to a single wing to the right. Chappius is in the tailback. Ball goes back to Dan Dworsky on a complete spinner. He breaks into the center of the line, finds a nice hole which carries him forward for a good 4 yards before he's hit down by Goebel Bryant. I believe that is the end of the first period. We'll see whether the referee picks up the ball. He does. There's the end of the first period. And the score at the end of the first period is Michigan 7, Army 7. Still PC patches of blue, but the sun is not shining down. Temperatures down in the 60s or maybe the high 50s. Chappius in the tailback, a single wing over to the right this time. They haven't run to the left yet. Ball goes back this time to Dan Dworsky, a complete spinner into the center of the line. He crosses the Michigan 35, reaching the 37-yard line before he's hit down by Ugg Fusen, the fullback of Army. Gain on that play of another 2 yards. It'll be third down coming up between 4. Well, let's call it 4 yards to go. 3rd and 4, Michigan's ball. Maize and Blue isn't looking quite as alert as they did in the beginning of this game. They're walking back into this huddle now. They're not running. Army is playing a 5-man line, 2 men backing it up. Then 3 men behind that and a semi-safety man about 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Single wing over to the right again for Michigan. Yergis calling these signals. Ball goes back to Dworsky. Dworsky to Fondy. Fondy's trying to cut around the left side of the line. He comes back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all he comes back to. Hank Fondy, right halfback of Michigan. Dumped beautifully by Felix Doc Blanchard, right halfback of Army, who hits him down to the ground. That'll bring up the 4th down. Still leave 4 yards to go, and Michigan is going to have to boot it. Michigan fails to make a first down. It is the Wolverines ball on their own 37-yard line, 15 yards in from the eastern side of the playing field. We're in the second period. The score is 7-7. Back into safety position, Arnold Tucker and Glenn Davis. Tucker on the left, Glenn Davis Glenn Davis is on the right. Tucker's on the left. Back in the punt formation is Rip Rowan, who's going to kick for Michigan. He does. He's booting it back towards Mr. Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis fumbles the ball and lets it go out of bounds on the Army. Let's call it the 27.5-yard line. Davis tried a shoestring catch. It got away from him. Hit his foot, went out of bounds, and the ball is immediately brought in. It's Army's ball, 1st and 10 in their own 27.5. Bob Weiss comes in at fullback for Michigan. Stan Tversky goes out. Change for Michigan. Now it is Army's ball, 1st and 10 from their own 27.5-yard line. So the Army backfield is Davis and Blanchard, the wing backs, and now Rip Rowan is in at fullback. T formation for Army. Tucker calling these signals. He gives it to Rip Rowan. Rowan in the center of the line. He goes from the 37.5 up to the 40-yard line. Again, a 2.5 yards. Bob Chappius has come back in at left halfback. Gene Derricott goes out. That's a change for Michigan. Out is Yergis at quarterback, and Pete Elliott is in. Army with a T formation, very unorthodox. Glenn Davis deployed way out to the left this time. Ball is given on a spinner this time to Davis, who fades way back to throw a long forward pass. It is good. Caught by Barney Poole. Barney Poole, the left end of Army, takes it all the way down to Michigan 30 and goes down to the 20 before he's hit down. And it's Army's ball, 1st and 10 down on the Michigan 22-yard line. Army showing this great strength, which they've been given credit for, now is proceeding to do what they've done in the previous 2 games when they trailed, tie it up, and then go back out in front if they can. They are down on the Michigan 22, and it's 1st and 10. Way out to the right is Doc Blanchard. He's deployed way out wide laterally. The ball this time is given to Glenn Davis. He can't get rid of it. He dumps back on the Michigan 29-yard line for a loss on that play of about 7 yards. Michigan is not dispirited by this long pass, which was just completed a moment ago. And there's no gain on the play as Glenn Davis is throttled behind the line of scrimmage. The referee says the ball went down to the Michigan 26, so that would be a loss of about 5 yards on that play. Jack Carpenter comes in at right tackle. Bill Petula goes out. Gene Derricott is in at left halfback. Bob Chappius is out for Michigan. Single wing to the left. Blanchard is out in the open. Here's a quick flip pass to Blanchard. Doc Blanchard coming around the left side of his line. He's back to the 20-yard line, and he's belted out of bounds, and he comes up to the 20-yard line. He goes from the Michigan 26 to the 20. It'll be 3rd down coming up, about 8 yards to go. Army's ball, and they are deep down in Michigan territory. It is 3rd down coming up, approximately 8 yards to go, and Army is coming out of the huddle. First class of the West Point Cadets is here at the game this afternoon watching them, some 350 of them. Doc Blanchard out to the right this time. In the tailback is Glenn Davis. Ball is given to Rip Rowan. Rowan into the center of the line. He goes from the 20 down to approximately the 17-yard line. Almost the 16 before he stopped. Jack Carpenter bags him on the Michigan 16-yard line. And now it is 4th down coming up, 4 yards to go. Army's ball on the Michigan 16-yard line. Will they go for the 3 points or will they go for a touchdown? Let's see what they can do. It is 4th down, 4 yards to go. Army's ball on the Michigan 16-yard line. Blanchard deployed out wide to the right. In the tailback is Davis. Ball is given to Glenn Davis. He's trying to cut around the right side of the line. He's back to the 15-yard line. He stays on his feet. He goes down to the 10-yard line, and he is knocked out of bounds, I believe, on the 9-yard line, and that is a 1st down for Army. Glenn Davis went all the way down to the Michigan 9-yard line. That's a 1st down for Army on the Michigan 9-yard line. Glenn Davis, fleet-footed left halfback of the Cadets, circles his own right end behind beautiful interference and goes all the way down to the Michigan 9 before he's brought down. But the Cadets are deep down in Michigan territory. In motion this time is Glenn Davis. Ball is given to Rowan. He gains nothing. Hit on the line of scrimmage. Rip Rowan, fullback of Army, right into the center of that line, and the whole Michigan line was waiting for him. J.T. White, Dominic Tomasi, and George E. Krager. Army is down, knocking at the Golden Gate. In motion, Glenn Davis this time. A quick flip pass thrown out to Glenn Davis. Davis takes it on the 10, gets away from one man, stays on his feet. The 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, the 1. He falls into the end zone. See what the referee says. Did he or did he not score? He did not score. Despite the fact that he fell into the end zone, the referee rules that the play does not count. He's calling it back. Flipping called on Army. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Offensive team clipping Army, 5-yard penalty. And that takes a possible touchdown away from the Cadets. Glenn Davis had gone down into the end zone. He had fallen across the goal line. We were waiting to see whether the referee was going to throw up his hands to signify an Army touchdown. Instead of that, Army is penalized 5 yards. Illegal use of the hands. Other than 5 yards, they don't lose it down on that play. Tucker calling these signals. In motion this time is Mr. Rip Rowan. The ball is given to Doc Blanchard. Blanchard's coming around the left side of his line. He's back to the 10, and he's knocked out of bounds on the 9-yard line. Make it the 8-yard line. Doc Blanchard trying to run the end. There's something new. He's hit out of bounds by Paul White, right halfback of Michigan. Davis is generally the man who skirts the ends. Here comes Army out of the huddle very quickly. Rip Rowan's in the fullback spot this time. Davis to the left, Blanchard to the right. Tucker's calling his signals. Ball is given to Glenn Davis. He's fading back to throw a forward pass. He throws it. It is not good. Intended for Hank Goldberg. He drops it on the goal line. Incomplete. Gene Derricott, left halfback of Michigan, flicked that ball with his fingers and caused it to be incomplete. And now, here comes the payoff play. You can hear the Michigan rooters saying, hold that line. It's 4th and 7.5. Ball is flipped out to Glenn Davis. Davis is fading back to throw a forward pass. He gets away from one man. Cocks his arm back. He throws it down to the 3-yard line. It's caught on the 3-yard line by Fulberg, but it is not a touchdown. Fulberg takes it on the 3, and he's hit down immediately. Gene Derricott knocks him down, and it is Michigan's ball. 1st and 10 on their own 3-yard line. Is for Michigan, Mr. Glenn Davis. Michigan with a backfield in their own end zone. Now they're going back into punt formation. Bob Weesey at fullback is standing about a yard in front of his own, the rear of his end zone. He's going to boot. He just managed to get that one away. Glenn Davis lets it come up to him in the midfield stripe. Davis takes it on his own 48, gets away from one man, reverses his field, stays on his feet, and he's finally driven out of bounds on the Michigan 42-yard line. Glenn Davis, left halfback of Army, running beautifully and showing why he's an All-American. Gets away from a whole host of tacklers, and he's finally driven out of bounds on the Michigan 41. So Army takes over 1st and 10. Rip Rowan comes in at right halfback. Blanchard goes out. So the Army backfield is Herschel Fuson at fullback, Rowan at right half, Davis at left half, and Tucker at quarter. In motion this time is Rip Rowan. The ball is given to Davis. Davis fakes a pass, instead gives it to Mr. Herschel Fuson, who goes from the 42-yard line down to the 35, almost the 34, for a big 6 to 7 yard gain on that play. It'll be 2nd and 3 in a moment, and Army's beginning to move again. But Army's getting deeper into Michigan territory every moment. Davis back this time. Ball is given to Rip Rowan. Rowan on a reverse, stays on his feet. He fumbles the ball, and Michigan recovers. Tomasi recovers for Michigan on the Wolverines 29. What a ball game this is. Michigan recovers on their own 29-yard line. He wouldn't change him for a gold mine right at the moment. All right, Michigan carrying the ball this time. It's Gene Derricott into the center of the line. He goes from the 29 to the 31, and the whole Army line is waiting for him. End zone for what looked like an Army touchdown, only to have the play nullified thanks to the fact that Army was illegal using their hands. Here's a single wing over to the right. Gene Derricott fading back to throw a long Michigan pass. He throws it. It's not good. Intended for Elmer Madar. It is not good. Madar goes high into the air, but Glenn Davis stays right with him, and Davis knocks it down. Incomplete. Fusion goes over to right half now. Blanchard stays in. Now Rowan's back in the ball game at right half for Army. So it's single wing over the right. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Unbalanced line. Ball goes back to Bob Chappius. He's fading back to throw a Michigan pass. There goes a long pass. And it is not good. Intended for Elmer Madar. He can't get under. Too long. All the way thrown back on the Michigan 19-yard line. Pitched all the way down to the Army 17-yard line. That was some pass. Racing down to get under was Elmer Madar. And right with him was Felix Doc Blanchard. And they raced down stride for stride. Blanchard was determined. The Michigan man was not going to outrun him and get behind him, and he didn't. Davis and Tucker are both back in safety position now. Weesey's back in punt formation for Michigan. He's going to boot. He does. It's up in the air. It's a beauty. It's driving Mr. Arnold Tucker way back to the Army 20. Takes on the 20, gets back to the 25, and he gets away from one man, stays on his feet, gets up to the 30, the 35, breaks into the clear, and then is hit down finally on the 41-yard line. Oh, he's a tough man to handle. Arnold Tucker. He was tackled all the way back on the 30, broke into the clear at the 35, and was finally hit down on the 42. Referee says his knee touched the ground on the 39, and Army is asking for timeout. So the Army backfield, Tucker, Fusion, Blanchard, and Davis, and it's Army's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 39-yard line. T formation this time. The ball is given to Doc Blanchard. Felix drives right across the 40, reaching the 41. Found a nice hole there, knifed his way through with a final lunge and his legs driving hard. And the score is Army 7, Michigan 7. Blanchard in the tailback this time. Now he's deployed out wide to the left, and it's Davis back. Davis throws a lateral out to Blanchard. Blanchard laterals it on to Tucker. Tucker is hit as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. He may have picked up 1 yard. Oh, here's a play we'll have to set back up for you. Arnold Tucker on a quick shovel pass gives it to Davis. Davis throws a lateral to Blanchard. Blanchard relays it on to Arnold Tucker, who began the play. Army running out of T formation. Tucker calling these signals. In motion is Glenn Davis. It's Tucker back to throw a forward pass looking for a receiver. He throws a long one, and it is not good. Saved at the last moment by Paul White. Paul White goes high into the air and bats it down. It was intended for Mr. Glenn Davis. Tucker throwing, and it was a beauty. It was right into Davis's arms. He was racing down to catch it. He didn't see White. White came out of nowhere and just ticked it at the last moment, and it went for an incomplete forward pass. Billy West is in at fullback replacing Blanchard, and it's going to be West who does the kicking. He gets a beauty up in the air. Racing back to take it is Bob Chappius. He takes it back on the Michigan 10-yard line, gives it in reverse to Hank Bondi, and Bondi is dropped back all the way on the Michigan 7. Bob Chappius caught that ball on the 10. He came across the field, right, doing a tightrope act on the 10-yard line, Hank Fondy was coming in the opposite direction. Chappius passed it to Hank. Hank was hit just as he got the ball, and he lost 2.5 yards on that reverse. Worked on the punt. Single wing over the right this time. Dan Dworsky's in the tailback. Dworsky takes the ball, gives it in reverse to Hank Fondy. Fondy gets back to the 10, and that's all he gets back to. Dworsky on a direct pass from Yergis, the quarterback, gives it on a spinner to Fondy. He replaced Dak Blanchard a moment ago to do that punting for Army. There are 4 minutes and 59 seconds remaining to be played in the first half, and it's a 7-7 ball game. Back in safety position is Glenn Davis in case Michigan tries a quick kick again. Dan Dworsky carrying the ball. He comes from the 10 up to the 15. 5 yards as he powers his way between right guard and right tackle. He powered it all the way through there. So credit Army with a very nice tackle, and Michigan with a 5-yard gain. Third down, 3 yards to go. Michigan's ball on their own 15-yard line. Single wing over the right this time. Dworsky's in the tailback. Ball goes back to Duran. He fakes to give it on a spinner to Yergis. Keeps it himself. Gets up past the 15. Goes to the 17-yard line. And is hit down as he reaches the 19-yard line. And that may or may not be a first down for Michigan. It is a first down. I think those Cleveland Browns play the New York Yankees tonight in New York at the Yankee Stadium, which should be a great game. Bob Chappius carrying the ball now for Michigan. He gets across the 20, reaches the 21, and that's all he gets. Up to the 21. And the Brownies get their big test tonight when they run up against the New York Yankees in the Yankee Stadium. All right, here we go. Michigan, Bob Chappius in the tailback of a single wing over the right. The ball goes to Bob. He puts his head down, finds a nice hole, crosses the 25, gets to the 27. Art Jeremetta, right guard of Army, brings him down. Strength that's been shown by Army in the second period, Michigan in the first period. Chappius in the tailback again. Ball goes back to Dworsky. Dworsky to Fondy. Fondy tries a spinner, and he gains nothing. He's dumped back on the 25. He lost about a yard on that play. To go into a punt formation unless they're going to run an awful gamble. 4th and 5. They do. Bob Weesey in the tailback this time. He's standing back from the Michigan 14-yard line. Takes a step forward. He boots it up in the air. It's end over end. Waiting to take it is Mr. Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis lets the ball roll away from him. It comes near to Arnold Tucker, and it rolls out of bounds on the Army 33-yard line. So it'll be Army's ball. 1st and 10 on the Cadets 33. 1st and 10 for Army. T formation, up on the line of scrimmage almost is Glenn Davis. Davis back for a forward pass now. He's fading back, way back to throw an Army pass. There goes a long, long pass, and it is completed beautifully. Barney Poole, the left end of Army, takes it all the way down on the 30, goes down to the Michigan 22-yard line, and Army is in a scoring position again. Referee says the ball was touched down on the Michigan 24-yard line. So it is Army's ball, 1st and 10 on the Michigan 24-yard line. In touchdown territory again. They give the ball to Glenn Davis. He's racing back to throw a forward pass, and he can't get rid of it. Art Renner, co-captain, and right into Michigan. Spills him all the way back on the 39. So it is Army's ball. Oh, here comes a penalty against Army on top of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too many timeouts. Here's a quick flip pass thrown out to Doc Blanchard. Blanchard to Rowan. Rowan trying to go around the side of his line. Stays on his feet. And he is knocked down on the Michigan 42-yard line by Pete Elliott, quarterback of Michigan. Rip Rowan, right halfback of Army. Brings it back to the 42. 3rd down, 30 yards to go for a first down. Roars is in it right. And here is Glenn Davis back to throw a long forward pass. He chucks it out. It's caught to Arnold Tucker on the 37-yard line. Tucker goes to the 31-yard line. He's knocked out on the 31. Davis to Tucker from down to the 37, the 40 to the 37, and Tucker is knocked out on the 31-yard line. And there's a gain on that play of about 11 yards, but there's still a great deal of yardage to be made up. 4th down and 20 yards to go. A gain of about 11 yards on that preceding play, 10 yards. 4th and 11 for Army. Michigan's defense is very deep. They know it's going to be a pass. Glenn Davis in the tailback this time. Ball goes back to Glenn. He fumbles the ball. He tries to pick it up. He does. He picks it up off the ground. He's throwing it all the way down. And it is caught in the end zone. Caught beautifully all the way down in the end zone by Barney Poole. Left end of Army. A beautiful pass. Glenn Davis was trapped behind the line of scrimmage. He picked the ball up off the ground. Sailed it through the air. Barney Poole, left end of Army, took it in the end zone. And Army has gone out in front 13-7. Everybody could see that was going to be a pass. And it didn't have it. Seemed to have a prayer of completing. Glenn Davis fumbled the ball on a pass from center and still managed to get away and throw it to Barney Poole and complete it. And Army's out in front 13-7. Now, kicking the extra point, the ball is up in the air. It is not good. It is not good. The score is 13-7. So, with just seconds remaining to be played, we'll have a station break in just a moment as soon as this half ends. There's just a few seconds. That was almost the end of the first half right there, and Army has come from behind to lead Michigan 13-7. And there are very few seconds. There are 29 seconds remaining in the first half of this football game, and this vast crowd at Ann Arbor is absolutely stunned. They thought that Michigan had stopped Army in the first half at least. Bobby Folsom will kick for Army, and there's the kick, end over end. It is going back to Bobby Weiss, who takes it in the Michigan 10. He's up to the 15. He's running laterally across the playing field. He's hit down on the 15-yard line. In on the 15, and the seconds are winding away. There's only 15 seconds remaining in this first half now. 15 seconds. Now there's only 11 seconds, 10 seconds. Michigan's ball, first and 10 on their own 14, and they stop the clock with 10 seconds to go. And it is Army 13, Michigan 7. Incidentally, the last year's halftime score was Army 14, Michigan 7. This year's halftime score is Army 13, Michigan 7. Who was it said that coming shadows something? Or history doesn't repeat, or the handwriting on the wall? Getting very philosophical. All right, Michigan. Single wing over the left this time. Bob Chappius on the tailback. Bob back to throw a pass for Michigan. He elects to run with the ball. He's all the way back to the Michigan 5. Now he's coming up to the 10. They're chasing and they're driving him out of bounds on the 15-yard line. He cocked his arm back to throw a pass. Couldn't find a man in the open. And he was finally knocked out of bounds on the 15-yard line. And I think that is either the last play of the first half or we have 1 second before this half is going to be over. Michigan trying desperately to get back into the scoring column after leading 7-0. Now finds they're trailing 13-7. Michigan back into a huddle. They have time for one play if they snap this quick. Rip Rowan is out of the ball game. Ugg Fusen comes in at right halfback for Army. Bob Weiss on the tailback. Now it's Chappius, the furthest back. Ball goes back to Bob Chappius. Chappius gives it on a spinner play this time to Weesey. Weesey to White. White is hit down on the line of scrimmage. And there is the end of the first half. And the score at the end of the first half is Army 13, Michigan 7. Over the facilities of the National Broadcasting Company in America. So over that network of stations across this nation, we pause for station identification. Joe Steffi will be kicking for Army. Here's one more score. First period, Pittsburgh nothing, Temple nothing. And now we'll stay with this football game as we get going in the second half. And here's the kick. It's up in the air, end over end. Racing forward to take it. He has to let the ball bound first. Is Mr. Paul White. He's back on the Michigan 15-yard line, running back. He gets back up to the 17, and he's knocked out of bounds. Paul White, right halfback of Michigan, is knocked out of bounds on the Michigan 17-yard line. And so the Wolverines must try to come up if they can from their own 17, first and 10, 15 yards in from the eastern side of the playing field as we begin the second half of the football game from Ann Arbor, Michigan, with Army leading Michigan 13-7. Herschel Fusen, fullback of Army, and Joe Steffi, the left guard of the men who made that tackle. Play-by-play report on Army, Michigan, the nation's #1 game. Bob Chappius, in their tailback spot. It's a quarterback sneak. Yergis to White. Yergis tries to go to the center line, can gain nothing. Tries to lateral it behind him to Paul White, and there's no gain on the play of any kind. Second down coming up now, about 9 yards to go. Michigan's ball, and the ball is resting just on the Michigan side of the 19-yard line. 17 yards in from the eastern side of the playing field. Here come the Mason Blue out of the huddle very quickly. Bob Chappius in the tailback this time of a single wing over to the left and unbalanced line. Ball is given to Bob Weesey. Weesey on the line, plunge right in the center line, and he gains nothing. Art Jarametta, right guard of Army, stopped him. And there was a succession of plays. You could see that Michigan had set their first play up, hoping that the second play would work too. In other words, no single signals were called in the huddle. Michigan went back into a huddle, came right out of it, and ran their second play. So Mr. Chrysler at halftime set those first two plays up. Let's see if he set a third one up. It is third down, 8 yards to go. Michigan's ball on their own 19-yard line. Ball is about midway between the two sideline stripes. Chappius in the tailback, Weesey in the plunging back spot. Ball goes to Bob Weesey. Weesey tosses a quick lateral out to White. White back to Chappius. Chappius is up to the 20, the 25, stays on his feet, goes to the 30-yard line, and he's finally knocked out of bounds on the 31, and there's a first down for the University of Michigan. Beautiful play. Yergis to Weesey. Weesey to White. White back to Chappius, and Chappius goes for a 12-yard gain. Ball is put down on the 30-yard line. That's where they claim he went out of bounds, so it's Michigan's ball, first and 10 on their own 30. Army is playing a six-man line. Two men backing up that line. Doc Blanchard made that tackle. Here come the Wolverines out of the huddle very quickly. They run over to the right this time. It's an unbalanced line. Both the tackles are on the strong side. Bob Weesey's in the tailback this time. Well, the ball goes back to Bob Chappius. He's fading back to throw a Michigan pass. There goes a long, long pass for Michigan. And it is not good. Intended for Lenny Ford. Ford has it in his hands and drops it. Incomplete. Lenny Ford tries to make a shoestring catch. He falls flat on his face trying to do it, and he is not good. It is not good. Blanchard, incidentally, was the man who was supposed to knock that down, and he let it get behind him. Oh, that's sure suicide in a game like this. Doc Blanchard let Leonard Ford outrun him. Michigan's ball on their own 29-yard line. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle very quickly. 2nd and 10 now. Ball is resting just on their side of the 30. It's all closer to the 30 than the 29. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball is given in a complete spinner this time to Lenny Ford. End around. He's up to the 35, up to the 40. Stays on his feet. Laterals it out into the wide. And the ball is rolling around loosely up on the 45-yard line where it's fallen down by Bob Chappius. Lenny Ford on an end around play. Brings the ball all the way up to the 40-yard line. Fumbles on the 45. Ball squirts away from him. Bob Chappius falls out on the 48-yard line. And it's Michigan's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 48. Boy, there's a play they never rehearsed. I'll guarantee you Fritz Chrysler lost 10 pounds on that one. Lenny Ford, the left end coming around, fumbled that one. Fumbled it up on the 45-yard line after he'd picked up about 15 yards. As he fumbled it, the whole Army team dove for it. Bob Chappius, the left halfback of Michigan, got on it. It's Michigan's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 48, and Amazing Blue is going to town. Single wing over to the right this time. That's 2 first downs in a row. Ball goes back to Mr. Bob Weesey. Weesey crosses the midfield stripe, gets down in Army territory, and he's knocked down on the Army 41-yard line. Here's another first down for Michigan. Fritz Chrysler said to this team at halftime, but whatever he did is really sparking them along. Michigan, their 3rd first down in a row. Amazing Blue driving through Army, and Army asks for timeout. Next running play finds Michigan reeling off another 10 yards, and it's now Michigan's ball, 1st and 10 on the Army 41. Will they keep going? That's the big question mark everybody's asking. Here's play again. And Bob Weesey carrying the ball. He gets to the 40, stopped after a 2-yard gain. Arnold Tucker, quarterback of Army, stops him. Army uses their quarterback sometimes as a safety man and sometimes backing up the line. A gain of 2 yards on that play. Bob Weesey goes right between his own left guard and center. It was he who stopped his own ball carrier. Michigan's ball on their own 40-yard line, 15 yards in from the western side of the playing field. Scores 13-7 in favor of Army. Michigan's on the march. Single wing over to the right. Paul White in the tailback. White deployed out White. It is Bob Chappius back for a Michigan pass. He throws it. It's completed beautifully. Elmer Mader takes it. He's all the way down to the Army 23-yard line. He's knocked down on the 22, and listen to this crowd. Bob Chappius to Elmer Mader, the right end of Michigan. He took it across the middle of the field, and brother, how he ran with that thing. Once he had it into his midsection, he was going. He was off to the races. Hank Folberg, right end of Army, finally nailed him from behind. And the amazing part of that is Davis was his man. Davis was running side by side with him, and he outran Glenn Davis. Here comes Michigan back. It's time to play football again. Calling the signals is Yergy. Single wing over the right. Bob Chappius is on the tailback. Ball goes back to Bob Chappius. He's faking throw a pass. He runs with the ball. Gets across the 25. Goes down to the, let's call it the 16-yard line. He retreated all the way back to the 27. He crossed the 25, then the 20. And he was finally knocked down on the 16-yard line. And Michigan is driving. They're down on the Army 16-yard line with a 2nd down and 4 yards to go. Goebel Bryant, right tackle of Army, hauled him down. An off-tackle smash with Bob Chappius, the left halfback of Michigan, faking a pass, tucking it back into his tummy, and going off his own right tackle. Single wing over to the right this time. Army's playing 8 men on the line to try and stop him. A spinner with Bobby Weiss into the center of the line. He goes to the 15-yard line, and that's all. Goebel Bryant, Art Jeremeta, Harold Livesay all stop him. A spinner, Bob Weesey, on a complete spinning play. He faked to give it to Chappius, thinking to pull the Army defense off to the right because Chappius had been running wild through the right side of the Army line all the way down the field. But Army wasn't fooled, and they pulled him down. Gain on that play of 1 yard. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. Michigan's down on the Army 15-yard line. Single wing over to the right. The ball goes back to Bob Chappius. He's got his arm back to throw a pass for Michigan. It's completed down to the 10-yard line. It's taken by Harold Yergis. Yergis is knocked out of bounds on the 8-yard line. That scored Michigan's touchdown. Bob Chappius throwing, Harold Yergis catching. Yergis calling these signals. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back to Weesey. Weesey on a spinner. Gives it to Yergis. Yergis goes past the 5 to the White. White takes it to the 3. He's knocked down on the 3-yard line. Belted all the way back to the 4. See where the referee untangles the pile. He puts it closer to the 5-yard line. Bob Chappius goes all the way down to the 5-yard line where he takes that spinner. Yergis to White. White to Chappius, and the ball goes down just inside the Army 5-yard line. It is Chappius back to throw a forward pass. He's going to run with the ball instead, and he's dumped back on the 6-yard line. He loses a yard on the play. He was trying to find a man in the clear to throw it to, and he couldn't find a man. So he elected to run with the ball, and he lost 1 yard. And it is 3rd down coming up. Michigan's ball, 6 yards to go on the Army 6-yard line. Couldn't find a man to throw it to, and he elected to run with it. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle very quickly now. Oh, this tension is really something. Single wing over to the right this time. Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back to Weesey. Weesey to White. White is going around the left side of the line. He's down to the 5-yard line. He's down to the 3, the 2, the 1. He scores for Michigan. He scores. He hasn't missed one yet. If he misses this one, it'll be the first this year. Can he make it? Can he make it? It's blocked. It's not good. It is not good. It's a 13-13 ball game. All I can say is he picked a fine time to miss his first one for Michigan. Kicked 6 this year and then had a miss on the 7th. With 8 minutes and 10 seconds of playing time remaining in the third period, Paul White will kick for Michigan. Holding will be Gene Derricott. There's the kick. It is going back to the Army 20-yard line. It's taken by Arnold Tucker. He's up to the 25, and he's hit down on the 32-yard line. Hit down on the 32. Here's the first period score. Bowdoin nothing, Amherst nothing. Another one, Wake Forest 7, Clemson 7. Here's one more. Boston University nothing, Northeastern nothing. A 13-13 football game between Army and Michigan. Doc Blanchard in the tailback this time. Ball is given to Glenn Davis. Davis around the left side of his line. He stays on his feet. He can't be knocked down. He comes all the way up to the 40-yard line. That Davis is really something. All-American in every sense of the word. So is Blanchard. Davis in motion this time. Ball is given to Rip Rowan, the fullback, the plunging fullback of Army, and he moors and makes it up for a first down. Goes right through the center of the Michigan line, and he reels it up to the 43, 44-yard line. Army's ball, 1st and 10. Blanchard in motion this time. The ball is given back to Davis. Davis coming around the left side of his line. He's up to the midfield stripe, gets away from one man. He's finally knocked out of bounds all the way back on the Michigan, well, let's call it on the Michigan 47-yard line. Gene Derricott hits it out of bounds. And there's something you don't often see. 41 hitting 41. And Rowan has shifted over to right halfback for Army. Rip Rowan. Tucker calling these signals. Arnold Tucker gives it this time to Rip Rowan. Rowan into the center of the line, and if he made an inch, I don't think he did. I think he lost about a foot. So while it was 2nd down and inches to go, it is now 3rd down and feet to go. 13-13 is the score. 3rd period of the football game from Ann Arbor. Army and Michigan. Ball is given this time to Rip Rowan. Rowan goes over the right side of his line, and he is thrown for another loss. Oh, Army with a 2nd down and only inches to go has failed to make it, and they bring up the 4th down now, and they're 2 yards shy. Doc Blanchard is back in kick formation from Army, standing on the Cadets' 40-yard line. He's going to boot from the 42. He gets it up in the air. It's a nice kick. Waiting to take it is Bob Chappius. Bob Chappius lets the ball roll all the way back. It's back to the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2. It stops on the 3-yard line. Barney Poole and Hank Folberg touch it down. A beautiful kick by Blanchard rolls all the way back to the Michigan 3-yard line. Uh-oh. They have a penalty on that, and they have a penalty against Michigan for roughing the kicker. 15 yards against Michigan gives Army a 1st down on the Michigan 36-yard line. Army elects to take the penalty instead of the kick because it does give them a 1st down, and they retain possession of the ball. Now here's a quick flip pass thrown out to Blanchard. Blanchard's running with the ball. He's back to the 30, and he's knocked down as he crosses the 30-yard line. Gets down to the 29-yard line, and Army is coming mighty close to Michigan. Comes Army out of the huddle very quickly this time. Tucker gives the ball to Blanchard. Blanchard bulls his way through the center of the line for another yard. Blanchard, in case you don't know, but I'm sure everybody does know, is out of Bishopville, South Carolina, unanimously All-American on everybody's squad. Rip Rowan in at right halfback. Blanchard back for a quick pass. He rattles it back to Tucker. Tucker throws the pass down to the 20-yard line. It's caught by Hank Folberg, and it's good, and Army's advanced the ball down to to the Michigan 21-yard line and made more than enough for a 1st down for the Cadets. And they have the ball 1st and 10 on the Michigan 21-yard line. Onto the 21-yard line, Doc Blanchard carries the ball, and he gains nothing. And despite the fact that we have white clouds up overhead and the sun shining down in spots, it is raining. It is not raining hard, but it is raining a little bit. Arnold Tucker calling these plays. He fades back to throw a forward pass, and it's completed again. Hank Folberg, the right end of Army, goes high into the air. He takes it on the Michigan 15-yard line. He's hit down immediately. It's a completed forward pass down to the Michigan 15. At Ann Arbor, Michigan. And now Army is down on the Michigan 15-yard line. Arnold Tucker shovel passes out to Davis. Davis is going around the right side of his line. He's back to the 15. And he is bumped out of bounds on the, let's call it the 13.5-yard line. So here comes the crucial play. Sit down now. Take this one easy. It's going to be a 4th down coming up now. Let's see what they're going to pull. Arnold Tucker calling these signals. They made up their mind. Ball is given to Rip Rowan. Rowan coming around the left side of the line. He is hit by one man, and he does not make it. He's stuffed on the Michigan 14-yard line. It is Michigan's ball, 1st and 10. Gene Derricott at left halfback for Michigan, the tailback of a single wing. Ball is given to Gene Derricott. This time he stays on his feet, goes to the 20. He's finally knocked out of bounds on the 24-yard line. Gene Derricott is knocked out on the 24, and there's a gain of a good big 8 yards by the left halfback of Michigan as the Wolverines begin to pull themselves up by their claws and out of trouble. Gene Derricott's in the tailback. The ball's given in a reverse to White. White gets to the 25 and just about a first down before he's hit down. Paul White, right halfback of Michigan, who caught that pass a few moments ago, which put them in the scoring position, catches the pass, and a big cheer goes up as the Michigan Rooters realize that their team has reeled off another first down. Here's a quick shovel pass attempted by Pete Elliott. He laterals it back to Gene Derricott. Derricott is run out of bounds on the 23-yard line. There's no gain whatsoever on the play. Pete Elliott, quarterback of Michigan, runs laterally with the line of scrimmage, tosses it back to Gene Derricott, and Derricott is forced out on the Michigan 23 for no gain on that play. As a matter of fact, there was a loss of about 2 yards. And here is a quick shovel pass being worked back to Bob Chappius. Chappius is carrying the ball. He's up to the 25. He's knocked out of bounds on the Michigan 27-yard line by Arnold Tucker. He picked up about 3 yards on that play as he ran it all the way from the right sideline to the left sideline. Now there are only 59 seconds of playing time remaining in the third period, and the score is Michigan 13, Army 13. Rip Rowan, fullback, right halfback rather, of Army goes out, and Herschel Fusen comes in. Gettysburg 27, Lafayette 14. Time to play football back here at Ann Arbor. Let's get back to this game. NBC sending it winging your way. Michigan's ball on their own 27-yard line. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back to Chappius. He's fading back to throw a pass. He throws a long one. It's completed this time to Paul White. White takes it on the 30. He gets up to the 33 and knocked down. It was long, thrown laterally across the field. Actually, it didn't pick up too much yardage. It was a screen pass. White of interferes out in front of him. He had Hilkenny, Tomasi, White, and Wilkins all in front of him, and the play picked up about 6 yards, 7 yards. It'll be 4th down coming up now, 2 yards to go. Hank Fulberg broke it up right in of Army. Michigan's ball, 4th and 2, and we have 29 seconds of playing time remaining. Back in safety position is Billy Gustafson, the quarterback of Army, and on the left is Glenn Davis, the fleet-footed speedster. Bob Weesey, fullback of Michigan, is standing back in front formation in the Mason Blue 25. He boots it. It's up in the air. It's a nice kick. It's a beauty. It's driving Billy Gustafson way back. Glenn Davis takes it instead. Davis takes it on the 15, gets away from one man, comes to the 20, stays on his feet, and he's finally knocked down on the 25. There are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and there is the end of the third period, and the score at the end of the third period is Michigan 13, Army 13, and a ball game from the word go. Glenn Davis, proving why he is unanimously All-American. Every time he gets his mitts on that ball, the Michigan Hearts stop. Here's a first half score, Holy Cross 13, Villanova 7. Here's a third period score, Miami 6, Bowling Green nothing. And Billy Gustafson goes out. Arnold Tucker comes in at quarterback for Army. Army has the ball on their own 24-yard line. It is first down, 10 yards to go. Glenn Davis just gave it a whale of a run back, as he always does. Deployed way out to the right is that self-same Mr. Davis. And now it is Arnold Tucker back to throw a forward pass. He throws a long one. It's a beauty. It is, a peach of a catch. Doc Blanchard, fullback of Army, goes high up into the air in the midfield stripe and brings it down. That was a beautiful catch. Arnold Tucker throwing. Doc Blanchard went high up into the air in the middle of the field. He had to leave his feet to catch it. He went so high he had no chance of regaining his balance. He fell flat on his face, but it is Army's ball in the middle of the field. Army's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 49. Michigan, which went out in front in the early stages of this game, led 7-0, found Army overhauling them. Then Army moved out in front, led 13-7. Then Michigan overhauled Army, and it's now 13-13. Army's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 49. Single wing over the left this time. The ball is given to Blanchard. Blanchard into the center of the line. He powers his way across the center of that line. He goes from the 49 to the, let's call it the Michigan 47-yard line. Teams wailing away at each other because they both want this game. They are both looking over the rim of the stadium and hoping that they will be allowed to go to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena if they can get by each other. Rip Rowan in motion this time out to the left. Tucker shoots a lateral out to Glenn Davis. Davis cutting around the left side of his line. He's back to the 45 and knocked out of bounds on the 42. Ooh, Mr. Glenn Davis, every time he gets that ball, I assure you, 86,000 people stand up just as though somebody said, get up, because they never know what's going to happen to it. He's as fast as greased lightning. Paul White, right halfback of Michigan, and Pete Elliott drive him out of bounds. The 2-yard line. Tucker calling these signals. Army running out of an orthodox tee. Glenn Davis in motion. Tucker back. He gives the ball this time to Blanchard. Blanchard goes off his own left tackle down to the 35, down to the 30, and he is knocked out of bounds just shy of the 30-yard line. Let's call it the 33. Doc Blanchard, with all the speed that is Blanchard's, finally goes out of bounds on the Michigan 33, and now Army is driving deep down into Michigan territory. And Army is driving deeper into the territory of the maize and blue. The Wolverines clawing back, but they can't stop Army at the moment. Arnold Tucker gives it this time to Davis. Davis hurdles over one man, gets away from another man, shakes off a third man, stays on his feet. He's driven out of bounds on the Michigan 20, let's call it the 27-yard line. 27-yard line is where he finally goes out of bounds. You know, one of the nice things you like to see in a football game, and I've seen a lot of it this afternoon, these Michigan boys and these Army boys, when they get loose at each other, they really dive in for all they're worth. But no matter how hard they hit them, and they really jar their teeth loose on some of these tackles, they roll right over on their tummies and try and help the other guy up. Across buck, Glenn Davis carrying the ball this time. He gets to the 25-yard line and he's knocked down. Arnold Tucker faking to give it to Rip Rowe and instead gives it to Glenn Davis, and Davis puts his head down, plows through with a power dive, finds himself thrusting through tackle until he's hurt and hit by Jimmy White. Michigan playing a six-man line. Shift over to the left this time. Rowan in motion. Ball is given to Blanchard. Blanchard into the center of the line, and I think he may have gained 1 yard or nothing. He didn't gain any more than a yard. Elmer Maynard, left end of Michigan. Hit him and hit him hard. Drove him down to the earth. Ball gets back to the line of scrimmage, and it's 4th down. 4 yards to go. Army's ball on the Michigan 25-yard line. Army getting ready. They're coming out of the huddle. They get their ends deployed out wide. Ball is given this time to Blanchard. Blanchard fades back, throws a quick pass out. It's completed to Fulberg. Fulberg goes down to the 20-yard line, and there is a first down for Army. Hank Fulberg goes high into the air. He's knocked out of bounds on the Michigan 18-yard line, and it's Army's ball, 1st and 10 on the Michigan 18. Now the Wolverines must dig in from here if they possibly can. Comes Army out of the huddle very quickly now, deployed way out to the right. Felix Doc Blanchard, he's 20 yards out to the right of his end. Tucker gives the ball this time to Glenn Davis. Davis tries to dive over the right side of his line, over his own left tackle, I should say the left side of the line. Georgie Krager, right guard of Michigan, stopped him. Here goes Blanchard out to the left again. He's way out past his end, some 20 yards out, deployed about a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Ball is given to Davis. Davis to Blanchard. Blanchard's down to the 10, down to the 7, and he's knocked down on the 7-yard line. And that, I think, is another first down for Army. And Army is moving down the field. They are down the field on the Michigan 7-yard line. I believe that's another first down for the Cadets. It is a first down for Army. And it's now Army's ball on the Michigan 7-yard line. Can Michigan stop them? Here comes Army out of the huddle very quickly now. Tucker calling his plays carefully and beautifully. In motion is Glenn Davis. It's Tucker back. He gives it to Blanchard. Blanchard to the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, the 1. He pulls his way over and Army scores. Army has come from behind again and they lead 19-13. And now they'll try to kick for the extra point. Arnold Tucker and Doc Blanchard scored that one. And it's Ray, Jack Ray, getting ready to kick for that extra point. Here's the pass from center. The ball is up in the air. It is good. Score is now 20-13 in favor of Army over Michigan. Pete Elliott at quarterback. And Bobby Weiss stays in at fullback. Those are all changes for Michigan, with the exception of Weiss, who stayed in there. Rip Rowan is out of the game at right halfback, and Fusen is in for Army. And Fusen is booting, and it's a beauty. It's an end over end. It is going back into the Michigan end zone, where Bob Chappius takes it on his goal line. He's up to the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, stays on his feet, comes to the 25, gets to the 30, keeps going, gets up to the 35, and he's finally knocked down to the 35-yard line. Bob Chappius is finally driven out of bounds on the 34-yard line after he'd come all the way from his own goal line, and for a moment it looked like he might be breaking into the clear, and if he had, he'd have been on his way to the races with a 100-yard dash. Bob Chappius brings it up to the Michigan 34-yard line, and now the Maize and Blue of Michigan must come back if they possibly can. 20-13, Army over Michigan. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle very quickly this time. Bob Chappius is on the tailback. He's the passing expert. Bob Weiss is in the bucking back spot. Ball goes back to Weiss. Weiss gives it to Yergis. Yergis laterals it back to Elmer Mader and an end around, and there is no gain on the play. Elmer Mader may have picked up 1 yard, but I don't think he picked up any more. Well, the play was Weissy to Yergis, and Yergis to an end around Elmer Mader. And Michigan comes out of the huddle very quickly now. Picked up 1 yard on the last running play. Weiss in the tailback this time. Chappius throws a long pass. It is not good. Intended for Elmer Mader. He can't get into the ball. Incomplete. 3rd down, 9 yards to go. Michigan's ball still on their own 36-yard line. Bob Chappius intending it for the left end of the Michigan team, Elmer Mader, and it is not good. Got some more scores we'll give you as soon as we get a timeout period. Haven't had any as yet. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle very quickly this time. Single wing over the right. Bob Wiese in the tailback. Waiting for the pass from center. Wiese goes back to Chappius. Chappius fading back to throw a long Michigan pass. It is intercepted by Glenn Davis. Davis takes it on the Army 40. He's up to the 45, and he's knocked down. Glenn Davis, left halfback of Army. Boy, looking at this Army football team play football reminds me of one thing. The Army is underway in an enlistment drive for recruits. If you'd like to carve out a career for yourself, I can think of none better than being in the Army. And when you want to see how proud Army men are of other Army men, you should see this rooting section let go when Mr. Davis gets the ball. Rip Rowan is out at right halfback, and Doc Blanchard is back in. Try the Army, and here's a forward pass with Arnold Tucker throwing it, Barney Poole catching it. It comes up to the middle of the field, crosses the midfield stripe, gets down into Michigan territory, and is knocked down on the 45. Hank Fondy, the right halfback of Michigan, is the man who knocked him down. It's a first down for Army, and Army is beginning to drive again. Fusen in the middle this time at fullback. Both Davis and Blanchard are in that backfield. Ball is given this time to Herschel Fusen. He goes down to the 40-yard line, is stopped on the 39. White and Yergis bring him down, and Army seems to be driving again for another possible touchdown. With Doc Blanchard deployed way out to the left, Glenn Davis carrying the ball. He gets away from one man and then trips back on the 48-yard line. Loses a lot of yardage on that play. Glenn Davis, who has a right to lose a few yards, he's looked remarkably great this afternoon, is spilled by Elmer Mader, the left end of Michigan. Ball is given this time to Glenn Davis. He's coming around the left side of his line. He is back to the 45-yard line. Ooh, he got spilled. One hit him low, one hit him high, and they dumped him head over heels. He went down on the Michigan 44-yard line. Harold Yergis, quarterback of Michigan, is the man who knocked him down. Getting ready to kick for Army now will be Doc Blanchard. He's standing back on the 45. Gets the signal, gets the ball from center. He's going to boot it. He does. He angles for the sideline. Instead, he is reaching Bob Chappius. Chappius gives it on a twisting to reverse to Fondy. Fondy gets from the 9 to the 10, gets up to the 11, and he's hit down. Twice Michigan has tried to use that play today, and they've been unsuccessful both times. With Chappius taking a kick, cutting to his right, having Fondy, the other defensive safety man, come around behind him, take the ball away from him, and try and skirt the end. He's been unsuccessful in doing it. Because this is a lot of excitement piled into this game. Michigan must come from behind if they can. Bob Chappius in the tailback. It's a spinner this time. The ball goes to Hank Fondy. He powers his way, knifing between his right guard and right tackle, all the way from the 10 up to the 14-yard line for a gain of 4 yards on that play. Singling over the right this time. In the tailback is Bob Chappius. He's the passing expert. Ball goes back to Wiese. Wiese fakes to give it to Fondy, keeps it himself, spins right into the line and is dropped dead in his tracks. No gain on the play. In fact, there's a loss of 1 yard. Here comes Michigan out of the huddle now. They seem to be mired back on their own 14-yard line. Single wing over to the right. Bob Chappius in the tailback. Ball goes back, and it's lateral this time to Elmer Mader on an end-around play. Mader gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all he does get back to. Doug Fusen, the right halfback of Army, is the man who hit him down. Punt formation. Bob Wiese standing back on the Michigan 3-yard line. Arnold Tucker's back in safety for Army. There's the kick, almost blocked. He manages to get away. Waiting to take it is Glenn Davis. He takes it on the midfield stripe, gets away from one man, hemmed in by another one. He runs it down to the Michigan 45, and it's Army's ball. Army's ball, 1st and 10 on the Michigan 45-yard line. T formation with Tucker calling these signals. There goes Glenn Davis in motion. The ball is given to Rip Rowan. Rowan down to the 40-yard line, and he's knocked down after a 5-yard gain. Rip Rowan, right halfback of Army, plunges right through the center of the line. Takes it from the center, fakes to give to Fusen. Instead, gives it to Glenn Davis. Davis comes over the left side of his line, gets down to the 35, down to the 36, fumbles the ball. Georgie Traeger and Pete Elliott, quarterback and right halfback of Michigan, respectively, fall on it. And I believe the Wolverines recovered. It's their ball, 1st and 10 on their own 34-yard line. The picture, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan, trailing by 7 points, has the ball on their own 33 thanks to a recovered fumble. Glenn Davis fumbled it. Ball goes back to Bob Wiese. Wiese laterals back to Bob Chappius. Chappius fading back to throw a forward pass. It's completed to Howard Yergis. Yergis takes it in the 40. He's knocked out of bounds on the Michigan 49-yard line. Howard Yergis, quarterback of Michigan, takes it and is knocked out of bounds on the 49. And now Michigan's trying to race the clock. 2 minutes and 50 seconds remain in this football game. Single wing over the right this time for Michigan. Maize and blue. Bob Chappius on the tailback. Ball goes back to Wiese. Wiese back to Chappius. Chappius to Mader. Mader on an end around. Mader's going to throw a long forward pass. He does. Intercepted beautifully. Intercepted by Arnold Tucker, quarterback of Army. He goes high into the air and brings it down for the Cadets on the Army 25-yard line. A beautiful interception by Arnold Tucker. It was a one-handed basketball catch. Single wing over to the right this time. Modified T with Davis in motion. Ball is given Tucker. Tucker fakes to give it to Blanchard. Keeps it himself. Spins around dead in his tracks and picks up nothing. No gain on that last play. Loss of about a half yard. Army's ball on their own 25-yard line. T formation. Tucker calling these signals. Tucker's right down. He gives it on a crossbuck this time to Glenn Davis. Davis is coming around the right side of his line, and he's nailed all the way back on his own 17-yard line. He's nailed for an 8-yard loss by Don Robinson, the fullback of Michigan, who just came into the game. Don Robinson, on his very first play, sails out of nowhere to make that tackle, and that was a beautiful tackle Mr. Robinson made. In motion is Ugg Fusen, right halfback of the Cadets. Ball is given to Doc Blanchard. Blanchard into the center of the line. He gained about 3 yards. Returned it to the 20-yard line. It will be fourth down coming up now with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining to be played. And the score is 20-13. Army leads Michigan, and Army is going to have to kick. And there's the kick. It's up in the air. Waiting to take it is Elliott. Bump Elliott takes it on his own 45. He's back to the 50. Stays on his feet. Goes down to the 45, and he's hauled down on the Army 40. Let's call it the 43-yard line. 59 seconds remain in this football game now. Michigan says, come on, let's play football. Fritz Chrysler is throwing in a man now to stop that clock. He wants the clock stopped, and it is stopped. Right halfback, Billy West goes out for Army. Bob Chappius back for a pass for Michigan. He's looking for a man to throw it to. There goes a long Michigan pass, and it's completed all the way down to the Michigan 24-yard line. Dick Riffenberg takes it on the right end of Michigan. He takes it on the Army 24, and the clock's ticking away unless somebody stops it. Michigan's ball, first and 10 on the Army 24. Bob Chappius in the tailback, a single wing over to the right this time. He's fading back, waiting for the pass from center. He takes it now, fading back to throw a long forward pass. Cocks his arm back. He can't find a man. Now he does. He throws it down to the 10-yard line. It's caught on the 10. It's Michigan's ball out of the Army 10-yard line. Reifenberg, the same man, catches it on the Army 10-yard line. It's Michigan's ball, first and 10 on the Army 10-yard line. Glenn Davis finally drove him out of bounds. There are 29 seconds remaining in this game. Calling these signals. Weesey in the tailback. Ball goes back to Weesey. He's fading back to throw a forward pass. He cocks his back. There goes a pass down into the end zone. It is not good. It is not good. Incomplete. Incomplete. The penalty would have been on Michigan. It is on Michigan. Pushing 15 yards, and the crowd doesn't like it. Listen to this crowd. Michigan's trailing by 7 points. We're in the last seconds of the game. Robinson in the tailback. It's Robinson back to throw a pass for Michigan. He looks for his man. He can't find it. He's going to run with it. Now he changes his mind again. There goes a long pass. It is not good. It is way down to the 5-yard line, and it's knocked down on the 5 by Barney Poole, the left end of Army, who goes high into the air. And it is incomplete. That stops the clock. So the next play, ladies and gentlemen, will be just about the last play of the game, but there may be a penalty on this one, too. The red handkerchief is dropped down on the ground on the line of scrimmage. It's on Michigan again. Looks to me like it's going to be on Michigan. Michigan comes out of that huddle. It's raining here at Ann Arbor. We're in the last seconds of this game. It's 20-13 game in favor of Army. Robinson the tailback. Robinson fading back to throw a forward pass for Michigan. Cocks his arm back. There goes a pass. It's a long pass. Intercepted by Army's Arnold Tucker. Tucker takes it on the 20s up to the 25. He's knocked down on the 30. That's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and the game is over. Army wins 20-13. A great victory for Army this afternoon. They played a stubborn, determined band of warriors wearing the colors of the maize and blue, and the game wasn't decided until the closing seconds had gone into the record books. For with 11 seconds to go, as a matter of fact, with 30 seconds to go, Michigan was only 10 yards away from tying up the ball game. 20-13 was the final score. There's a gentleman in the booth seated right next to me. Bob Ufer's his name. He's the former Big Ten track champion, a great broadcaster in his own right here in Ann Arbor, and a man who spotted for me this afternoon who's seen this Michigan team in every game they've played. Bob, this is the first time you saw them lose today. How did they go today as compared to what they've been doing in the past?
Well, Bill, all I can say is right now the Michigan men everywhere can be proud of the Wolverines this afternoon. They gave Army a battle through the full 60 minutes. And I might say, although I'm a bit prejudiced, naturally being for Michigan, but the breaks decided this afternoon's ballgame. The final score, Army 20, Michigan 13, and I still maintain Glenn Davis in the latter part of that second period was flat on his back when he threw that pass into the Army end zone. The end caught it. He was down almost out of bounds. That was a touchdown. That's a deciding touchdown. It's Army 20, Michigan 13, and don't sell our Wolverines short. They play Northwestern next week, follow up with Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio State. And all I can say is I hope the Big Nine vote that the conference champions go to the Rose Bowl this year. Thanks a lot, Bill.